Good afternoon and welcome to WKU. I'm Sam Evans, Dean of the College of Education and Behavioral Sciences, and it is truly my pleasure to welcome you to the Spring 2016 hooding ceremony for our Educational Leadership EDD program graduates. Without question, this is an important day for our graduates. It is a journey. And for some of you, it started several years ago. For some, it may have started more than several years ago. You may have taken some detours along the road. That is normal, as is a detour in life. You've probably heard folks say, and it could have been some of your doctoral faculty, could have been your advisor, the only good dissertation is a done dissertation. That's only halfway there. The only good dissertation is a good dissertation, and one that is extremely impactful. And in looking at the folks who are graduating today, I can say there are two dissertations that have impacted beyond that book that you've gotten published. One is going to impact the work that we do here at WKU with our literacy component of working with a number of our students that has and will continue to have tremendous impact on retention. The other one is a dissertation where we have used the methodology, the survey instrument, to improve a master's program in teacher leadership in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So if for no other reason than that, the good dissertation is the one that's impactful. And think about that as you go through life. Now, it's not just our graduates here today that I want to commend. None of these individuals got here on their own. You, as members of the family, need to give yourself a pat on the back. And I want to personally thank you for everything you've done. I know our grads want to thank their families because you have to make sacrifices for them to be successful, and that is very important. I also want to thank the members of the faculty who have worked with our EDD graduates, and you will officially graduate shortly after 5 o'clock this afternoon, because the faculty are the ones who have mentored you, who have helped you over those rough bumps, and have made this not just a journey in and of itself, but a journey that is going to make a tremendous difference in your life. So to each and every one of you here today, thank you. This is a joyous occasion. Please celebrate. This typically only happens once in the life of a graduate. So best wishes to you all.
Good afternoon. I'm Tony Norman. I'm the Director for the Educational Leadership Doctoral Program. And thank you, Sam, for your kind remarks. And also, I want to thank Sam publicly. He's been such a support to the doctoral program and from its inception all the way through. There's no greater ally that I know that I have on this campus in order to get things done when it comes to the doctoral program. So I'm very thankful to him. And then also, as you can see, he's got a very, very busy schedule over the next several days, but his commitment is demonstrated in that he comes to this and he always opens with some remarks for us. So thank you again, Sam. I also want to acknowledge one other person who, as Sam mentioned, really has helped each one of you and so many of our students make it through the sometimes very long journey of the doctoral program, and that is Miss Gay Pearl. And I would like her to stand for just a moment. Thank you, Gay. And she knows I'm a little bit of a sentimental person, so I'll try not to cry in front of everyone. But Gay has just been an incredible asset to this program. I think all of the students and faculty can say that. She's been the face of this program for several years, always smiling, always can do, how can I help you, how can we make this get done? beyond that, she's just an incredible friend as well. And so it's been wonderful to come to work every day and say, I love the people that I'm working with. She's going to be really hard to replace, and she'll be leaving us in July. But we wish her the best. I know that she's going to enjoy retirement, enjoy her grandkids, and I'm going to probably figure out, how to lasso her back for some things along the way, or somewhere in the college we'll figure out a plan. But thank you so much, Gay, for everything that you have done. Well, I'd like to make a few opening remarks before we move to the hooding. This afternoon, we celebrate together the symbolic ritual of faculty conferring the doctoral hood upon our graduates, and thereby welcoming them as equals and colleagues into the family of terminally degreed professionals. This evening's commencement will represent the final public celebration and recognition of degree completion. To me, it is fitting that commencement should follow the hooding ceremony. The hood represents evidence of ending the doctoral candidacy stage, and it's a concrete symbol of completion. Whereas commencement is so named because it represents the beginning, the first step in life with the degree in hand. As I contemplated what I might share with you in a very few minutes that would inspire you as you begin your journey, I have a few words of wisdom that kept occupying my mind. So I thought I would share those with you today in no particular order. So first, consider this your last day to celebrate your accomplishments. I am sure that most of you would agree that, especially in the lonely dissertation days, the EDD program is somewhat of a solo flight. Yet, if you've been paying attention, you know that there are many who have traveled with you, and others have supported you along the way, many of them now gathered here to celebrate with you. But of all career aspirations, leadership most clearly entails others. After all, one can hardly lead without followers. So remember that the greatest celebrations and grandest achievements in your future should include clear signs of us and we. Be the unique leader that you were created to be. To me, one of the challenges in teaching about leadership theories and concepts is that they lead to labeling of both ourselves and of other people. How many times have we not heard, I am an ISTJ and you are an ENFP, or you are more structural, she is more political. Although these terms provide a useful shorthand to describe various leadership styles and nuances, if we are not careful, they become self-limiting, constricting us rather than informing us. And even if both you and I are ISTJs, or not, our experiences, family, and cultural background, constellation of values and aspirations, just as our fingerprints, distinguish us as unique individuals, never duplicated in the past, nor will we be in the future. So every day, we must embrace the opportunities and challenges with a firm belief that we are created, and I would argue divinely appointed, to bring our individual gifts and abilities to make things better in this time and in this place. Your critics are friends who just sound like enemies. This principle still challenges me every day, but think about it. Your critics are just willing to name the faults and weaknesses you have that your friends overlook and your subordinates are often too afraid to point out. Yes, critics may often describe you in the ugliest and most hurtful of terms, but their words usually sting because we know deep inside that there is some small kernel of truth in what they have said. So I encourage you and myself to not be afraid. Listen to your critics, perhaps not with your heart, but with your head. Peel away the layers of hate and look for the core. Don't we all want to be the best of our better selves? Let's all thank God for our critics who help us examine and purify our motives, help us refocus on what is important, and toughen us to withstand adversity and still accomplish great things. Stay curious. As one person put it, the future belongs to the curious, the ones who are not afraid to try it, explore it, poke at it, question it, and turn it inside out. Think about your decision to start this program and what kept you committed to finishing. So many of you sat in my office as you contemplated applying for this program, and you talked to me of your desire to do more, to be more, and to make a difference. You understood intuitively then what I hope you have learned consistently in this program, that it is in exploring and asking what if that you begin to see new possibilities and new opportunities. Leadership will constantly require freshness and innovation. After all, if every organizational challenge were the same or required the same solution, a manager or a machine could serve rather than a leader. The leadership path is rarely direct, and its corollary, the easiest route, is rarely the best. Forgive me if my thoughts on this point are a bit autobiographical, but I think you will see how my story connects. If anyone had foretold to me several years ago that I would now be the director of the WKU Educational Leadership Doctoral Program, I am pretty sure I would have laughed out loud. I was an associate dean planning my next career trajectory toward becoming a dean. But in a series of strange circumstances, I found myself as the chair of the search committee for the director position. Preparing for the search required that I delve into the unique, and I thought at first glance, exciting characteristics of the program. And I was appalled that the very few strongly qualified candidates that we had come just couldn't get what this program could be. They seemed all too eager to get here and fix the program, which the committee and I all agreed meant make it like every other leadership PhD and EDD program out there. To keep this short, at some point, I began to imagine what it might be like to see this program fully birthed, and here I am today. I can unequivocally and yet with all humility say that directing this program has been the greatest leadership professional development I have ever experienced. This somewhat off-the-beaten-path opportunity for me has helped me grow in ways I never thought possible. I feel more prepared for whatever other opportunities life may send my way. And what an honor it continues to be to serve, to learn from, and observe how each of you have grown. And finally, always strive to be at peace with yourself and with your God. I saved this one for last because I want you to remember this one in particular. Leading others is one of the greatest joys, and yet one of the most demanding things you will be called, and now I believe you are prepared to do. But I believe peace and consequently long-term effectiveness comes from a balanced life. Never fall prey to the temptation to make your job or your position equal to your self-worth. Yes, you are a leader, and you want to be successful, but you are also somebody's child, perhaps also a parent or spouse, certainly a friend and a colleague. So make time to excel in these areas too, and you will experience true fulfillment. And along with that, leadership also includes tough calls, your best judgment, occasionally upsetting the apple cart, and making decisions with less information than you would like to have. The ability to lay your head on your pillow with a sense of integrity and a clear conscience before your God is essential. On my toughest days, and yes, we all have our share, I find no greater peace than if I can go before God and say, I have done what I could do to the best of my ability and with the knowledge I had. I now trust you to do for me what I could not do for myself. So may his peace and wisdom guide all of us to do good for all he leads across our path. So congratulations, doctoral graduates, for persevering through life's challenges and obstacles in order to make this special moment a reality for you and for your loved ones. May this time of celebration live in your memory as the beginning of a new chapter of leadership opportunities and accomplishments that you have demonstrated and we have validated you are prepared to meet. We look forward to cheering you on and supporting you as you write on the pages of your bright future. And if I had the opportunity to add one special note at the top of your first new page, it would be this: always remember, to whom much is given, much is required. Thank you. We now move to the time of actual hooding. And as I told the graduates out in the hallway, we're among family here. And so we're going to try to do this very methodically and professionally, but we'll go as it goes. Sometimes hoods ends up in all kinds of different ways, but it doesn't change the fact that they've accomplished the goal and they are certainly terminally degreed. So bear with us as we go. As each candidate comes forward, I will call them. Their chair will come and be able to make a few remarks about the candidate, and then we'll actually do the hooding. Thank you. So first off, we have Charlene Baragona, and she will be hooded by Dr. Cecile Garman.
It's a great pleasure to have worked with Charlene. I know many of you faculty know that it has been a real pleasure to work with Charlene. She's a delightful young woman. She came to us from a different culture and has occasionally had to deal with cultural changes that have been more complicated than some of the rest of us who have lived in the same culture and studied in the same culture. Charlene also has a strong religious and philosophical basis upon which she views the world. And there have been occasions when she has had a little trouble accommodating that to the intellectual curiosity and the intellectual openness of the academic curriculum. But she's done it, and she's done very well. It's been a great pleasure to work with her, and I'm very happy to hood Dr. Baragona. And Charlene, I'm going to miss your orange tulips in the spring.
Next, we have Amber Scott Belt, and she will be hooded by Dr. Janet Applin.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to see this many people here. And I do have a few words I want to say about Dr. Belt. And I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget anything. But it has been my true and distinct pleasure to work with Amber as she's pursued her doctoral degree. And I did not know when I agreed to be her chair that she is a force to be reckoned with. So those of you that know her already know this. And once she began, she was absolutely tenacious in her pursuit of her research and her writing, and the caliber of her writing and her choice of committee members. And I'm not sure if any of her committee members are here, but Dr. Kristen Wilson, Dr. Kimberly Everson, and Dr. Pitt Derryberry. And when she told me her choices, I said, do you realize you have chosen a really tough committee? And she did, but she wanted a tough committee because she wanted the best work to come out of her dissertation. I know, as Dr. Evans said, none of us achieves this anything, especially something of this magnitude, without support from those who love us. And Amber dedicated her dissertation to her three sons, Cody, Chase, and Cole, and talked about them being her entire motivation for her education. And as we all know, that makes me so proud to be involved in her education. They spent many years watching Amber work to reach this goal, and I know tonight they will be very proud of their mom, just as her husband is today as well. A long time ago, someone told me that when you earn a doctorate, it means that you have learned something that no one else has ever discovered. And I think Amber's dissertation is a great example of that. And I recall when I received my doctoral degree and my family had a big party and nobody asked me about my dissertation except one person. So I like to make it a point at doctoral hoodings to let everybody know the title of Amber's dissertation is Assessing Global Citizenship Education, the Identification with All Humanities Scale. And her research replicated and supported earlier research, and it's truly led to huge implications for those of us that work in curriculum development in higher education. It's going to make a difference in how I look at curriculum development and how those who use her research will in the future as well. So I know that when I have questions about this topic, the expert that I will turn to will be Dr. Belt Scott. So it is my great pleasure today. I hope I didn't take too much time, Dr. Norman. And it is my great pleasure and honor to hood Dr. Amber Scott Belt today.
Next to be hooded is Mina Man, and she will be hooded by Dr. Ashley Fox.
Good afternoon. I guess this is a full circle because Mina was teaching American Sign Language and I was a graduate student. And now I'm her chair of her dissertation, or was her chair of her dissertation. She is now completed. I will keep my comments short. I think two words that can describe Mina's journey, the main one has been persistence. Just like all of you all who are sitting on the second row today, once a week at least, if not more, she would email, text, or email, or text. My timeline. I need to finish. So we have done this, I feel like, in a very fast pace, although she feels like it's snail, but very fast. And we are all very proud of her. She is definitely a role model for children who are deaf and hard of hearing, to prove that deaf can do anything but hear. Congratulations, Dr. Mina Man.
And if I may take the liberty, I actually co-chaired with Ashley because Ashley was a brand new chair, and so wanted in some sense some support. What's really been nice about that, I've actually co-chaired several dissertations, and as Ashley demonstrated again, Dr. Fox clearly knew what she was all about. She knew how to do the work. She just needed some words of encouragement. So I got to step back and watch a brand new chair blossom, and I'm hoping that she'll be back to work with us. And Mina, I hope that you will not be the last deaf or hard hearing student that we'll have. It's been it has been an adventure, but it's been a wonderful one. It's truly been one that's expanded all of our understanding, our experience, and our appreciation for another group in the world that we want to fully understand and embrace. So we're very thankful for Mina stepping into my office several years ago and communicating, I want to be in this program, and here we are. The next person who will be hooded is John David Marshall, and he would have been hooded by his chair, Dr. Sherry Powers, but the good news is that I also served on John's committee, and so I will be hooding him in a moment. I want to speak about my experience with John. It's been really a fascinating journey, I'd have to say, because Dr. Powers started here at WKU, and now she's moved to the deanship at Asbury. And she wanted to continue with him, and so we figured out how to make that work. But the other piece of that was John reached out to Tiffany Wheeler at Transylvania University. And one of the things I love about our program is we are rarely captured in a box about this has to be the way things happen. Students will come to us and say, what if? And we'll say, why not? And that's been a really great experience, again, that Sam and others have supported as we've been innovative in the program. About John personally, John is one of the most quiet individuals that I know, and yet there's this burning passion inside of this man that shows up in his writing, and his passion is to serve underserved students. And I'm not going to get emotional about that, but I have to say, when he defended, it was like a prayer meeting or a sermon, because his passion about meeting the needs of kids. He serves as Chief Equity Officer in the Jefferson County Public Schools, one of the, believe it or not, one of the largest school districts in the nation. You would not think that, but it is. It's not that far behind places like Los Angeles and some of the other districts that we think of as being huge. And they have diverse needs there. They have everything imaginable in terms of trying to serve people from different languages, different backgrounds. And John has not just a passion, but he has a deep held belief that those kids can be just as successful, and that where we really need to learn is that teachers and other educators have to think differently about those kids in order to make a difference. His dissertation was on going into some classrooms where teachers were really making the difference in the life of African American males, who were really getting it and enjoying their coursework and being successful, and trying to glean out what are the things that they're doing that are making a difference. How are they connecting with those kids? What do they believe about those kids to bring out the best in them and lead those kids to success? So it was a very powerful dissertation, and again, I was just moved by his presentation and how he brought it together. So it's my privilege to hood John, and I'm looking for tremendous things to be happening on his behalf. In fact, one of the challenges has been in trying to get him done is he's had all these opportunities that keep popping up, and they were distracting him from time to time, but we managed to keep him focused to say, let's get that terminal degree, and then you just go conquer the world. We know you will. So thank you, John, for the privilege of working with you. I look forward to hooding you. And last but not least is Daniel Super, and he will be hooded by both of his chairs, co-chairs, Dr. Barbara Birch and Dr. Pamela Petty.
My joy at getting to say a few words today is in direct contrast to how uncomfortable Daniel is right now, which actually brings me a little bit more joy and makes him a little bit more uncomfortable. Daniel, I first met him when he was a graduate assistant here at Western, and someone, knowing my deep need for help, assigned him to me. And he worked that way for a couple of years as he was getting his degree in school psychology. She's yelling "Dada" in case you all don't know what this is. He has a cheering group right over here. And you say all you want to, Adeline, that's good. And not long after that, as things would have it, I try to keep good people around, and so Daniel joined us in the workforce here at Western. He was in my office one day. A couple of other people were in there with us. I was at my computer typing away. He assumed I was on topic and typing what we were talking about, and intermittently I would stop and ask him questions. Daniel, what is your home mailing address? And he would stop his conversation with others and tell me. And then a couple of minutes later, I would say, I know the month and day you were born, but what year were you born? And he would fill that information in with a little concern, but no direct question. And then I said, one more thing. I said, what's your 800 number? He gives me his 800 number. And at this time, he's just stopped conversation and staring at me, and I hit enter. And I said, you owe the graduate school $50. And he said, what have you done? So while some people belabor this desire to be at this position here and chart their whole life around getting into these programs and doing these big things, other people are just gracious when someone puts them there. And that is what he has been. And I could go on and on about different descriptors of how bright he is and how compassionate he is. But the one thing I want you to know about him is he's a school psychologist. And in this new position that he got at Western a few years ago, his job was teaching. And he'd never been prepared to teach. So he said, I'll try anything. I will give it my best shot. So he goes into his first class, and I am on pins and needles because I do not know what I'm going to do if he comes back and says, I quit. And that was on the table. So I was a little concerned. Daniel came back in. He flipped his papers down on the table, and I'm ready for I quit. And he says, I'm a teacher. He fell in love that first class, and I've never seen anyone as compassionate and careful and considerate and impactful with students as he is. I will tell you that he's going to do some incredible things in his life, some awesome things in his life, and they're going to be measured on a yardstick by a power far greater than us.
You may wonder why Daniel has co-chairs, but with just a brief introduction to Dr. Petty, you might understand a little better. We had to hold her back. Seriously, it has truly been my pleasure to be co-chair for Daniel and to work with Dr. Petty. And have to tell you that this particular dissertation topic was one that was kind of close to my heart. I think all of us as chairs encourage our students to be bold and take a risk for things that are important and try to make a difference in people's lives. We all try to do that, but most of us know that it's sometimes hard to find exactly how you're going to do that directly connected to the dissertation. I think in this particular instance, Daniel was in a very special spot and had an opportunity to pursue something that is important to our university and to all of our students, and I think subsequently to other universities as well. He follows after the traditions of our first president, Dr. Henry Hardin Cherry, who wrote one time to students, he said, if you want to come and get an education, Western's the place to come. And he said, education's the key to all good things in the future, providing for your family, making a difference in the world. But he said sometimes people come and they think, maybe I'm not quite ready. And Dr. Cherry said, it's okay if you're not quite ready because we'll help you be successful at Western if you're willing to work. And I think there are so many students that want to be successful. All of our students do. And we all struggle with ways to help them be successful. Daniel has the great privilege, along with several of his colleagues, in linking his dissertation to a new program at the university that is designed to do just that, to target students when they need help, how they need help, in ways that they enjoy the success that Western is committed to giving all of our students. So I could tell you some things about him, but Pam already did. He's a great student, a joy to work with, and I don't want to say this out loud because sometimes I tell Tony how hard I'm working, but the truth is I didn't have to work very hard with Daniel, okay? And that was a joy too. Yeah. Okay. So congratulations, Daniel.
Well, thank you so much for coming. thank you for supporting each one of these students, not just today, but I know many of you have been doing so for months and several years, cheering them on, helping them to find one more ounce of energy to take another class or to get this paper written. So thank you so much for your support. Now the good thing is going to happen. That is, we're going to go right up the stairs, and up the stairs in the foyer area there are refreshments, and so we look forward to seeing you up there, and I look forward to talking more with each one of you, shaking your hand and congratulating you and supporting your loved one here. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.